So, I don't really have very many people following me on this channel, I know, but this is going to just be, anyone from school who knows me or any of my close friends or whatever. I just want to talk a little bit about the last year and a half, 2 years, something like that. So, I'm probably going to make another video about my life until I was 10 years old. Or until I came to Northeastern. I don't know, something like that. But the thing I want to talk about is the last 2 years of my life. Or 3 years, I don't even know. Okay, so I came to Northeastern and almost fell in with the popular group, whatever, blah blah blah. But ended up being friends with AJ. And then everything went good. Almost my entire 7th grade year, everything was perfectly fine. I was in honors classes, getting good grades, etc., etc., etc. My first day at Northeastern, they had put me in just all regular classes, and then they got my I-STEP scores, and the guidance counselor comes in. She's got these this look on her face, like, holy Jesus fish, what the fuck? And she comes up to me and she's like, here's your new schedule, and I'm like, okay, and I look at it and it's like all honor classes, so I was like really proud of myself, everything going good. And about the last quarter of my 7th grade year, I met this guy. His name was Dariah. About the same time, I'd gotten in a relationship with one of my friends. We were going great, blah 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 blah. Everything was perfect. I'm the one who fucked that one up. I left her because I left them, him, them, their pronouns are him, them. At that point, they went by her. I left them because, I don't have an explanation, not a good one. I don't know who's texting me. Oh. But I left them, got with someone else, blah 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 blah, and then got in a relationship with this guy that I met. His name was Dariah. In this video, hopefully called by a series of things, probably Jay, Jackass, Dariah, that fucking asshole. So, I got in a relationship with him, and everything went good for about a month and a half, 2 months. And then things weren't necessarily clear to me. I didn't really consider it and think of things this way until afterwards. But, he started becoming very controlling. We were in an open relationship, so, we could, kiss, whatever, blah, 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 with other people, as long as, we told the other person and it wasn't anything we hadn't done together. And we were like, I love you, blah, 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 blah. So, there was that. And then he started becoming really controlling. If I asked if someone he knew liked me because I wanted to, make out with them or whatever, he'd be like, no, you shouldn't even be interested in them. They're my friends. Why are you interested in anyone but me? And then he'd go have sex with his best friend. Yep. And I realized that I was a dumbass for staying in this relationship, but the thing is in a video I'll explain about my childhood later, this pattern of abuse was so familiar to me, I called it love. I called it he wanted me for himself. I called it love. I didn't call it abuse. And not only did he get very controlling, did he get very abusive mentally, physically, emotionally. I wish that I had some of our messages still. I don't. I wish I could show you the pure, I would send him a text, because at that point I was trying to quit smoking, about, damn, I really want a cigarette right now, and I'd wake up in the morning to text, 18 texts about how I'm fucking awful, and how could I do this to him, when I hadn't even said I had smoked one, all I said was I want one, how could I do this to him, didn't I fucking understand, blah blah blah. So, yeah, not only did that happen, but it got to the point where at school, he would molest me. I'm not going to go into detail because I know it can be triggering for some people, and it's triggering for me. Talking about this it's not easy. It's really not, but this is something I need to get off my chest and just put out there. So that happened quite often, at least once a week, if not more often. I'm sweating. But that happened, and it got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, and one of our mutual friends, actually his male best friend, not the one he was fucking, but his male best friend, called me and was like, look, I think you guys need to break up, blah blah blah, you guys are just not working out, and all this shit he's doing to you is not right. And so that happened, and I went through a period of just like having flings and trying to repair myself, because I was trying to accept that none of what had happened, I was trying to accept it wasn't my fault. That, like, I realized some fights were my fault, because I would do something and I knew he'd get upset, but I'd do something and then I'd tell him like it wasn't a big deal. So that was my fault. But the abuse and sexual abuse, I had to accept that that was not my fault, that I had not done anything to deserve, or I still have trouble accepting that it wasn't my fault, but I have to, because no human deserves that. So I was going through a period, and then I got back with the person that I'd been with before him, and then in February, no, not February, in March or April, around March, I broke up with her, him, them at that point, because I did not feel that I was completely over Jay. I did not completely feel that I was good enough. I did not believe that I was good enough for them. So yeah. And so then I got with their cousin, who I'm just gonna call M for now. But I got with M, and he was also abusive. He was very controlling. He is a drug addict, currently still a drug addict. Cocaine, Percocets, etc., 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 any pills he could get his hands on. I mean, ex-heroin addict. You can still see the tracks on his arms. I'm pretty sure he's gone back to it. We were together not even a month and a half, 2 months, and I let him take my virginity. After we broke up, I found out I was pregnant with his child. Around 2 months into the pregnancy, I had started to show. I was getting morning sickness. I was ready to tell people, and that's when I lost my baby. It's when I lost my child. And so that happened this summer. It's been about the same amount of time that I've been out of school, plus 2 weeks, just about. So it's not been a huge amount of time. That's something I'm still dealing with on a daily basis, waking up and realizing there's nothing there because I dreamt that I was still pregnant, etc., etc., etc. It's not easy. Losing a child that I had just barely begun, it's a process of acceptance when you're not ready for that, when you're not trying for that. Realizing that no, you're not imagining it. Yes, it's real. Do you want to get rid of it or not? And once you decide, no, I want to keep this because this is mine, and you start to fall in love with that, and then it's gone. It's gone, and it gets ripped away, and you don't have a choice anymore. That's something that's very, very difficult to deal with, especially at my age and everything that I've been through. It's not easy to deal with. So that, I'm gonna skip back in time a little bit. After me and Jay had broken up, I had not wanted to be around him, but I had to because we go to the same school. He was still friends with my friends. I mean, we were not completely separated. I had to see him every day, etc., etc., etc. So I started doing drugs. I started huffing. I started taking cold medicine, Benadryl, drinking. I mean, I got drunk 4 out of 5 weeknights. On the weekends, pretty much always I was high, and then I got sick in February and got bronchitis, and the doctors put me on codeine to calm the cough. Well, that week that I was on that, I got addicted very quickly, and someone I knew had codeine and could give it to me, and so I became very addicted to codeine very quickly, and almost failed my English class because that entire school year I spent high. I mean, I was more drugged than anything. And so my boyfriend that had gotten me pregnant, we split up because my parents found out about everything and weren't letting me see him anymore. And so he said he didn't want to be attached to a bitch that he wasn't able to see. He didn't want to be tied down, blah, blah, blah. So we split up, and then I miscarried. I never told him because he once threatened that if I ever did get pregnant, and this was in a loving way, this wasn't anything he meant in a bad way, that he would beat the shit out of me until I miscarried because he would never be a father, and that if I couldn't abort it, then he would commit suicide. I didn't want to tell him, and he doesn't know to this day. He doesn't ever know. His sister knows. His sister might have told his mom, I don't know, but he doesn't know. And so, I had been doing drugs up until that point, and then I decided that I needed to get clean, not only because I couldn't really get anything, but because I was like, I'm gonna have a baby, I can't be doing this, I can't hurt her, I can't do this. So I got clean, and then after I lost her, I was going through a lot of depression and stuff, and when I went back to school, one of my friends had messaged me a couple days before school started and was like, hey, do you want to buy some drugs? And I'm in the midst of depression, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to blame it all on that. I mean, it's simple human fallacy. It is failure on my part to say no, but it is also my mental illness helping make the decision. I will not put the blame on anyone else, but I bought drugs from her first day of school. Mom found out, called the cops found out, told the school found out, expelled me for the semester. I'm going back next semester, but I've been clean since. I haven't done anything, and this is a very difficult video to make, but it's something that I need to put out there, because this little thing, don't ever tell yourself that someone hurting you is your fault. Don't ever tell yourself that you deserve to be hurt this way. Don't mistake that pain, that pattern for love, because it's not. And this is something that I just need every young girl, young boy, everyone to know, because this is not okay. This isn't. And I'm not going to directly blame the fact that I got into drugs on Jay or M for keeping me in them. I'm not going to blame any of that directly on them. I'm going to blame it on the circumstances and the fact that at that point was my only escape. That's another thing. Drugs are not worth it, because even now, clean for however many months, it will still wake me up in a cold sweat wanting it, and it's not pretty. Drugs are not pretty, they are not fun, they take more of a toll on you than you'll know until you quit them, or until you die from them, or until you end up in the hospital, or until you lose your baby to them. It's not something, it will eat your life away. It's not a choice, it's not a fun game, it eats your life away. Don't let yourself get into that, and don't let yourself get into the abuse like I did. Don't blame yourself for what happens to you, because it's not your fault. If someone is hurting you, that is not your fault, okay? I want you to know that, and I wanted you guys to know part of my story, just so you know you're not the only one, and I'm always here. Just be strong and be safe. Don't let anyone hurt you. If you need to, you can tell people, because even if it's not your parents, even if it's not a teacher, even if it's just another kid at school, you say, hey, I need to talk to you, I know we don't know each other, blah 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 blah, because you could make a friend and you could get help and you could get out of that situation. Don't let other people's judgment define you, and don't worry, just try and be safe and be happy. Don't let other people hurt you, because you don't deserve that, okay? That's all I wanted to say, because I just needed you guys to have a sort of insight into why I will always be there for anything, and why I am the way I am, and what I've dealt with these past couple, 18 months, etc., however long, just, I don't know. So, peace out. I love you guys. Comment down below, message me. I'll put my quotev in the description, so you can message me there anytime, and I will check it every day. I love you guys. Anyone who's watching this, I love you, okay? Be safe, be happy. Peace out.